And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. I am always happy to be here with you. Thank you for your patience this morning as we got set and ready to go. And so very grateful for last night. Amazing event and extremely rewarding. We got to make history, and I'm not saying that like, look at me, look at me. I say it like I just love being a part of things, starting things. I mean, that's been my entire career, is let me do something I don't see and I don't hear, and or let me do it differently than how I see it and hear it. And I have to thank Tracy Lieberman, CNS, the entire high school. I want to thank the junior high because I got to teach there this year as well. And I want to thank Willow Rock, the Pizza Pub, 6200 South Bay Road in Cicero, as well as all of the students, the parents. I got to meet some of the parents of the kids that I have had the blessing of teaching these last couple of weeks. And yesterday I was just like a proud papa. I mean, that's how I looked at it. Seeing these students, like, I got to teach them about podcasting and about putting things together, and Tracy as well. And Tracy did a tremendous job of setting the table, and then me coming in and getting to present the meal, so to speak. And just their logos, the names of their shows, the taglines, the premise, what is the show about, putting together a script, having questions, intro, outro, everything they did. I mean, they were so good last night. I'm impressed. Color me impressed. And the conversations that we had, the North Star Network being there, and the professionalism of what they do, and passing the baton, and just learning from them and finding their voice and their personality and letting that shine. All I can say about last night is, if you don't take last night and it doesn't take your heart and lift you off the ground, then you weren't paying attention the right way. And I am so moved by CNS and by the students in our community and the parents. And I know that she always gives me credit, but Tracy Lieberman, without you, I don't have this opportunity. I'm not in front of the kids. You tell me that everything we've done is making history, that no high school and no junior high has ever done the things we've done in broadcasting and podcasting and teaching them about my field and the way that we did it. And none of that happens. None of that history is made if you don't call me and you don't push this and you don't do everything in the background, all of the steps to make this possible. So for doing the work of 10 people, thank you, Tracy. And for letting me go into your classroom and trusting me with your kids there is beyond humbling. So last night was the beginning of so many things, and I'm so excited for it. So God bless for that, and thank you. Thank you all for showing up, for supporting, and for watching. And you can go back and watch all the videos that we did with CNS making history, unveiling their podcasts, as well as the North Star Network being on site, on location at Willow Rock Pizza Pub. It's on YouTube and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, which is where we are right now, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. And of course, we are on internet streaming radio, wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. So a lot of great stuff coming up. You know that Fridays has a trio of segments. Every Friday, we're bringing you the Annoying Moment of the Week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. LEAD, which is an acronym for Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. And I'll announce my Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare. And then in this specific broadcast at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, I will be joined by Sharika Montgomery. I cannot wait to have Sharika back on the show. She was with me a few years ago. Hard to believe that it's over a year ago that the last time that we got to sit down and talk, but in the Commissioner Corner, where I speak with leaders in college athletics all across the country, we will have the Big South in the full spotlight today as Sharika speaks with me about the membership of her conference, the future of it, the identity of the Big South, as well as her overall thoughts on national sports topics affecting college athletics all across the country. So, a lot of great things coming up. It's time to start things off Oh man, I don't know if y'all are ready for this. With the annoying moment of the week, proudly presented by the Baked Potato Express. The Baked Potato Express wants to see you today. So whenever they have an event going on in the community, the Baked Potato Express is the place to go, folks. I can't say it enough. It is an amazing, amazing experience. They have awesome, awesome food. And I get to have my own food there, which has been incredible. It's been an honor and a privilege to do something like that, to create my own baked potato and to have the wake up call breakfast potato, bacon, egg, and cheese on top of their potatoes that are seasoned and you know, in the oven, and just everything that they do to prepare the potato and make it soft, and the home of all these different toppings that they put on it to have my breakfast potatoes. Really awesome. And then a little bit of maple syrup, because those of you that know me know that I like my sweetness. So thank you to the Baked Potato Express. Make sure you go out and see them at the concerts at the Lakeview Amphitheater throughout this beautiful season. You can also see them coming up at the New York State Fair. And of course, they are in all of these food truck opportunities that happen throughout the months, and one of them being the fact of going to Great Northern on Wednesdays, so you can go and see them there. And of course, I will share their schedule with you. Just a tremendous place. And shout out to Dylan Husted and all the work that he's doing. I know he is a fan of being a part of the annoying moment of the week and the exclusive partner of that. So let's get into it. My annoying moment of the week for this week, I have a few. I definitely have a few. So I would say the people that are quantity over quality. Those people and I don't gel. We don't mesh. It doesn't work. It's kind of interesting to say the word mesh after having surgery and they had to put mesh in my body, because I've utilized it doesn't mesh, but now in my world, I hope it does mesh, at least inside of my body and healing. But I don't gel. I don't vibe with people that are quantity over quality. You know, the people that are just constantly looking at the numbers. You know, I had a friend who I would describe as he was everybody's friend, but nobody's friend. Because he wanted to know as many people as possible. He wanted to be popular. He wanted to shake hands, and everywhere he goes to have somebody give him a hug and notice him and, you know, be like the mayor. But when you really genuinely needed him, he wasn't. I mean, I guess he was there for some, but not all. And to me, if I'm going to bring you in my world and I'm going to call you a friend, because there's levels, right? There's the acquaintance, right? The person that I know, but I don't know him like that. And I don't consider them close, but I know them, right? I have a good relationship, but it's kind of one of those, maybe I'll shake your hand and that's it. You know, shake your hand, ask you how you're doing, and keep on moving. My friends are the people that I'm going to get together with, I'm going to talk with, I'm going to spend a little bit more time with. My brothers and my sisters, those are the people that are close to me. Like, the ones that I have the deepest bonds with. And then there's the inner circle of that circle, which are like, these are the only people that I trust pretty much completely. And so to me, you know, for an example, my phone, I think there's 5,000 numbers in my phone. There might be more. Take those 5,000 people and say, well, that's a lot, right? That's a quantity. Some people don't know 1,000 people, but I've connected in some way, shape, or form with over 5,000. So my world is big. But then look at the relationships that have the deepest connection, and that number is small. I don't have to have 1 million best friends. I just have to have the ones that are there, that I don't have to ask to be there. The one that would protect me from something I didn't even know was coming. What do they say? The people that truly care about you fight for you in rooms that you're not in. And those people are rare. Some people just stay quiet. They don't want to get involved. You know, there's somebody bullying someone. So they're like, well, thank God it's not me. And they're bullying someone that person might care about, but that person doesn't want to go and do anything about it. because then the bullying may shift to them. Then there's the person that's the quality, right? Where they see somebody they care about being bullied, or even somebody they don't even know being bullied, and they step up and show up for that person. They protect that person to the best of their ability. And I think that's important in life. I can't walk by an alley, see a woman being attacked, and go, well, thank God that's not my mom, or that's not my girlfriend, or that's not my sister. If I didn't do something to help her, I would think about it for the rest of my life. Now, some people would say, well, Dan, what if you get killed? What if they come after you? What if something bad happens? What if you get stabbed? Yeah, those are all horrible scenarios. But what if no one helps her? What if I was the only person that walked by? What if I am the only person that walks by that actually thinks to help? What if it was me? And I think we have to stop doing the neighbor approach, where some people say, well, thank God it's not me, right? Thank God it's not me. They see something happen, like your neighbor gets robbed, and you see your neighbor outside looking at their house, freaking out, going, I can't believe that this happened, and da-da-da-da-da. And you say, well, just thank God it's not me. Thank God it didn't happen to me, right? And to me, what does that create? The thank God it didn't happen to me creates this, everybody's getting robbed in my neighborhood, but it hasn't happened to me. So I'm going to shut my door and pretend like I don't see it. Well, what's going to eventually happen? If they've robbed everybody in the neighborhood, they'll come to you eventually. And when they do, if and when they do, you're going to expect your neighbors to help you. You're going to expect somebody to be there for you. But guess what? You weren't there for them. So they may just shut their door too. And that's what I call the neighbor approach, is I see something bad happen to my neighbor, but I don't say anything. In my case, personally, something did happen to one of my neighbors. And I said something. I could have kept my mouth shut. I could have said, oh, that sucks for them. Oh, well, sucks to be them. But I didn't do that, because it's not even something I have to think about. It's something that's innate in me, that my reaction is always, well, what would I want someone to do for me? And if I don't do that, then I'm failing. So I find it to be very important and imperative that we treat people the way that we hope they would treat us. And that's just who I am. I can't see you struggle and go, that sucks for you. I see you struggle and I pray for you. I sit with you, I talk with you, and I ask you how I can help. And you might tell me to go kick rocks, and that's fine. I mean, it's not fine, but I can't control how you respond. But I'm going to show up, because I don't know how to be anybody else. And I don't want to be anybody else. Because whether you believe in God or not, whether you believe there's something after this or not, when my life is over, I believe I will see my grandparents. And the only path to that is God. It's not why I love him. It's not why I care about him. I'm just saying, he's the only path. And I want to hear at the end of my life, well done, good and faithful servant. And I cannot be a good and faithful servant if I don't serve other people. And I can't serve other people if it's all about me. So I think that those things are important. I'm also going to hit you with another annoying moment of the week. So I have a few, and that one kind of branched into other things. But I would say, one of my annoying moments is, that thing on Facebook where like somebody pokes you out of nowhere and sometimes I have no idea who the person is. Like, I have no idea who the person is at all. And sometimes I do, but I have this one friend that, like, would poke me. And I don't know if he meant to, but there was like a series of time where he just did it. And if you're listening, I'm not offended by you like poking me saying, "Hey, what's up, Dan?" Because like he's a playful friend, like he's like a big kid, and I love that about him. But there was like a series of time where he did it, and I don't know if he was just hitting the button. I also don't know when a good time is for a man to poke another man on Facebook. So I don't know when that time is. But I will say that poking it's just an interesting thing that Facebook chose as its thing, right? But it is one of Facebook's pieces that are still available. So, I would say, when is a good time to poke somebody on Facebook? I don't know the answer to that, but it happens. Happened to me recently. I'm here to talk about it and tell you I'm okay. And I would say my last annoying moment of the week is I would there's a lot of places that there's a lot of things on my mind. I saw some strange things this past week. I really did. Isaac and I went to the movies, and we went to see The Mandalorian and Grogu, which was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. And there was people dressed as things in the lobby, and I still can't wrap my head around it at all. I'm trying to. I struggled with it, but I don't know how many words I can say. It was a very unique experience. I think that's how I describe a lot of things in my life. I call them unique experiences. That's kind of how it goes down. So that was a unique experience. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that go on in life. And listen, we get annoyed, right? We get frustrated. I think another one, this was the other one, was the best laid plans. I had some help with this one. But the best laid plans, right? Or as other people say, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. And I used to get so mad when people said that to me. And then I got older, and then I was like, that's true. And then I started saying it to other people after it was said to me, and it used to frustrate me, that if you want to make God laugh, just tell him your plans. So the best laid plans of, and I'm notorious for this. I am notorious for, I'm going to get in bed by a certain time, and, I'm going to go to bed at 11 o'clock, and then it's 3. I'm notorious for that. I am. And because I'll watch something, I'll think about something, I'll go on social media, I'll get an idea, I'll be editing something, a friend will be on the phone. And so, there's those best laid plans, right? Of, I'm going to do this. I'm definitely notorious for, I'm going to go watch a movie. Like, I'm going to go relax and watch a movie. And then 4 hours go by. So I've gotten better at it. I really have. I've gotten better at taking that time. Lily humbles me, my dog. She reminds me, like, if I make a promise to myself and I'm home, I'm making a promise to her. Like, if I'm going to watch a movie, then we're going to watch a movie. So if I don't do it, I feel like I've let her down as a dad, and I can't do that. Like, that to me is unacceptable. So that has definitely worked with me. But yeah, I mean, the best laid plans, right? And also when you get older, like, I woke up this morning and my pointer finger, it doesn't look like there's anything wrong with it. To me, it looks like a little bit like blood has rushed to a certain part of it. But my pointer finger, I woke up and it felt like it was squeezed. And I felt like this as a kid before, and it felt almost like a hangnail thing on the side. There's no hangnail, right? I didn't just recently cut my nails, because, I mean, they're short, so I don't have to right now, but there's like this pressure on the side, and there's this pressure in general, and I can't figure it out. And so I was told by somebody, when you get older, things hurt and we don't know why. But as a kid, you would go through that too, right? Something would hurt and you're like, what is that? And then you would go about your day and it would go away. And so I'm hoping that this is the case with this too. But my pointer finger, I think I did smush my finger in something, or maybe it's a sympathy pain because my dad was helping me with my equipment on Wednesday, and I was closing the equipment and his finger was in there. So maybe this is a sympathy pain. I don't know. All I know is that I want it to go away, but it came legitimately out of nowhere. I went to bed, and maybe I felt it a little bit when I went to bed, but then now I feel it more, and I can't for the life of me put my finger on it. Pun fully intended. So those are the annoying moments of the week. You got plenty of them. A big appetite for the annoying moment of the week from a place where you should take your big appetite, and that's the Baked Potato Express. If you want them at your event, make sure you email them, thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. That is thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com. If you'd like them to host your corporate event, your meeting, whatever you have going on, they are here for us in the community. And of course, they are throughout the community, throughout the weeks. And you can go there and get my exclusive Wake Up Call breakfast potato, bacon, egg, and cheese with some maple syrup on top of their fantastically seasoned potatoes. And we look forward to you going and supporting the Baked Potato Express in our community in Central and Upstate New York. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, it will be Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us. And now a message from Myers Creek Brewing Company, with locations at their Cazenovia Farm Brewery, Syracuse Inner Harbor Tap Room, and soon-to-be Lake Placid Tap Room.
Well, I think first and foremost, the Feldmeyer family and our team are extremely passionate about what we do. We care very much about what we do. The Feldmeyer family is always investing. Our taproom management team, our brew management team, our marketing management team, and all of the team members that get after it every day, they leave it on the field. They put their heart and soul into it. I know for a fact that everyone that works at Myers Creek wants to be there, and we want them to be there. We want them to feel good about their job. And again, if you've never been to a Myers Creek, especially to the brewery, I want your eyes to open really big. I want you to see how big of a brand this is. I want you to see where we're going. The sky is the limit, and I feel very proud of that, and I'm very excited about that. When you think of designing a menu for a brewery, it's kind of open to a lot of different interpretations. You can do American, you can do Asian, you can do Italian, and you just have to find, how that meets that pub style dining experience, that gastropub vibe. And I think it's super fun for us because obviously we know that, everyone in the world's going to sell a pizza or a burger or a french fry, but what can we do to be different? And what can we do to be true to who we are? We are a brewery, a brew pub. So the flavor profiles are kind of all over the place, and I think it's super cool that we have a massive smoker at the brewery in Cazenovia, and we smoke a lot of our products. We have a delicious smoked turkey. We have barbecue ribs on Sundays. From a pulled pork sandwich to a chicken wing, you go to the Inner Harbor and you go to the Kaz location, and you'll find similarities in the menu, but also things that are a little different and also kind of fit those different demographics or different communities, and also hopefully just drive you to try every tap room that we have open at some point, because you get a little something different at each one. We understand how hard it is to, work every day and get after it every day, and when you're done at the end of your day, you want to go out and put your feet up in a good ambiance and good environment. So we take pride in that. We make sure that everyone knows that they're very much valued to us.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday, and of course all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. It is now time to jump into Lead, which comes to you every single Friday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, featuring the conversations that can be literally about anything, but having to do with learn, evolve, ad-lib, and deliver, which is what the acronym LEAD stands for. Proudly presented by the wonderful team at Chick-fil-A Cicero, led by their wonderful, amazing leader and a brother to me, that being Jim Rusakowski himself. Today's topic: their expectations don't belong to you. Their expectations don't belong to you. What do I mean by that? I mean that other people's expectations, they happen all the time, uninvited. They're just there. And when people have expectations of you, sometimes we think we have to meet them. And we don't. We don't have to meet other people's expectations of us. And the expectations that they put on us, that's that's what they want. But it doesn't have to be what you want. And I think, I had a friend tell me years ago, and it didn't hit me, and it's still kind of, is strange for me to say, but he said, you're a public figure. He said, you might not think you're in the same world as Brad Pitt, but you are. You're an entertainer. Okay? You're out here. You're an entertainer. You're a public figure. You're somebody that people have access to a certain degree, because of what you do. And that comes with the fact that a lot more people are going to know you and what's going on in your life than the average person. Not necessarily what's going on in your life, but they're going to know about you, right? Because they're watching a show, they're seeing you in person, you're in the community, you're accessible to a certain degree, and you're a public figure. And with that comes a lot of expectation. And I'm one of those people, I'm one of the under-promise, over-deliver type of people, where whatever I say I'm going to do, my intent is always to do that and then give you a little bit more. And what I find with that is it sometimes creates a world where people just expect you to do everything because you've done so much more than what you said you were going to do, that they expect that you're going to do everything. Kind of like the neighbor where maybe you see them picking up weeds, right? So you go over to the house and you help them pick up weeds, and then there's leaves and you're raking your leaves, and maybe you rake a few of theirs. And to some neighbors, they're like, wow, that was so kind of you. That was so nice. Thank you so much. That was such a blessing. Thank you that you saved me some time. And other neighbors would say, well, what else you going to do? What else you got? How else can you do for me? Because you've already done for me. I want more. Other people's expectations of you are none of your business. And what do I mean by that? It doesn't need to be in your mind. It doesn't need to be on your heart. I find it really funny that there are people that will make demands of you without even really knowing you. Most of the time, because we live in this social media world and internet world, and not that I don't appreciate it for what it can be, because I feel like I use it for all the right reasons, but there are things that are nefarious about the internet and social media. And I've been in situations where people will write me a message and say, why haven't you done this yet? Or this is, they'll send me an idea. This is my idea, what you need to do for the show. And I'm like, I've literally done that for 4 years. Or they'll say, I think you should try this, or I think you should work on this, or why haven't you done this yet? And I'm like, I have. You got to pay attention. I'm not saying that people can't give constructive criticism and can't say, hey, what about this? Or think about this idea. And I'm not saying that you should go through life acting like you know everything and you don't need anybody's help or thought. I'm saying other people's expectations of you are never going to be met. And being a business owner, I'm not just a broadcaster, like being a business owner is managing sometimes people's expectations, because some businesses think that you're the only, like, they want you to treat them as if you don't work with anybody else, as if you don't have 5,000 other jobs, 20 other clients. It's just them. It's all about them all the time. And it's insane. It's selfish, but you also see, if you're around that person long enough and you pay attention, that that's how they treat everybody in their life. They have to be the only person in their spouse's life, the only person in their kid's life, the only person with the, Chamber of Commerce, the only person that the politician has to listen to, the only person who gets to talk when their friends get together. It's just how some people are. And I know how hard I work. I know how many hours I put in, and I know the quality of those hours. And I know how much I give. Yesterday, all I wanted to do in the middle of the day, because I knew I had a little bit of time, was I wanted to come home and I wanted to put my face in the pillow and I wanted to lay with Lily, even just for an hour, to recharge my battery. But there's work I had to do. And so when you come to me and tell me I'm not doing enough for you, or I'm not meeting your expectations, you're usually texting me that or calling me and saying that while I'm working on something. And ironically, sometimes I might be working on something for that person. So the best thing I can tell you about other people's expectations is they're allowed to have them, but you don't have to care. They're allowed to have them, and they can live and die with that person. They don't have to come to you. What do they say when someone presents you with something, just because they are trying to hand it to you doesn't mean you have to take it. If somebody took a pile of dog poop and put it in a box and wrapped it ever so nicely and gave it to you as a gift, and you opened up the gift and you saw it was dog poop, would you keep it, or would you say no thank you and hand it back? And in that same respect, as most of us would not take the box of dog poo, I would say don't take the words and actions of dog poo and take that box into your house. Sometimes people are going to try and present you with something and hand it to you, and you'll say, no, you keep it. And they'll say, well, I don't want to keep it. And I would say, exactly. Most of the time, someone's expectations of you, which there are people where their expectations will be outrageous, they'll want you to do something they've never been able to do. They'll want you to achieve something in an amount of time that makes no sense whatsoever. They'll want you to dedicate every waking hour of your life to them. I mean, how many movies have been made about bosses where the boss treats an employee that's like a fantastic employee? They've been there for 30 years. They've been trying to get a raise. They've never gotten a raise. They're paid like an intern, but treated like they're, the second in command of the business. And when they ask to be respected, what does the boss do? They fire them, they yell at them, they give them more work. There's a movie made called Horrible Bosses that's a play off of the fact that you can be the best employee ever, and it doesn't mean you're going to be treated with any type of respect. So when somebody hands you something, it doesn't mean you have to take it. When someone has an expectation of you, it doesn't mean you have to match it or meet it, because who made them God? Who made them God? That's a question that I ask people. Why do you have to? I worked for bosses. I got paid for one job poorly, and I did 9 other jobs that I did not get paid for. If you took my 9 jobs I did for that company and divided it by what I paid for, I probably made like 7 cents a week. And I'm not kidding. And they always asked me for more. And when I did something good, they would punish me. They would find a way to take what I gave them, but not give me the credit or the commission, because they wanted something out of me that I didn't want to give. So when I met them halfway, they tried to take it all. And I eventually left, because why stay in that? Some people will stay there and go, no, if I keep doing this and I keep working hard, like eventually my boss is going to get it and eventually they're going to appreciate me and it's all going to work out and it's just a big misunderstanding and it's going to be okay. But sometimes being at that place is not going to be okay. Sometimes you're never going to, and the thing is about their expectations is they'll ask you to do this, that, and the third, and they might even forget about it. Not even care about it, go on to the next thing. But then if you end up doing it, they'll complain about it. There are people that no matter how much money you make them, they're not happy. How many hours you work, how many times you come in, what you do for them, it's not going to matter because they're not happy and all they want to do in their miserable life that they've created for themselves is to make somebody else's life miserable because what do they say all the time? And people think that it is simply just a cliche statement, but it's not. Cliche, in my opinion, is another word for truth. Misery loves company. And how dare any of us provide company to those that want to be miserable? So the next time somebody puts an expectation on you that you got to work 27 hours in a 24-hour day and you're going to get paid for 5 of them, or you have to make them the only person in your life and they cannot talk, go, or spend energy anywhere else, or you do an event and you raise thousands and thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars or $10 and you're in the good, but it's not enough. Just understand that you are not a failure for being around someone who does not know how to appreciate and value you. Just because someone doesn't value you correctly doesn't mean you don't have value. And I want you to remember that. Just because you're around someone who doesn't value you correctly doesn't mean you don't have value. So let me be the one to tell you today, if nobody else has, God loves you, you have value, and your value cannot be defined by any number ever created by humans. Your value lies in how your Maker sees you. And God loves you. Always. No matter what. This has been Lead, Learn, Evolve, Ad-Lib, and Deliver, proudly presented by Chick-fil-A Cicero. Make sure you head over to Chick-fil-A Cicero today and let them deliver to you their fantastic flavors. And of course, try that pineapple dragon fruit over at Chick-fil-A in Cicero today. I appreciate Jim Sikowski and the incredible team at the first ever Chick-fil-A in Central New York. They have people with such big hearts and such kind gestures and words. I cannot say enough about the beautiful team there. Make sure you go and visit them today and every Monday through Saturday at Chick-fil-A Cicero on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York. We'll take a step aside inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios, and we'll be back right after this.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. Could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing, and so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing, an amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in. And then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Open for sales and service Monday through Saturday. And of course, open all the time online at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. So go check out their inventory and make sure you go and get your next ride or your first ride at Great Lakes Honda City. We appreciate them so very much. And I cannot thank them enough for everything that they've done in the time that we've worked together for over a decade. Truly means a lot to me how we have grown and blossomed and just become the partnership that this is with Great Lakes Honda City. It's the only place that I've gone to get my vehicle for over a decade. And so, I mean, if I'm going to tell you to go somewhere, it's because I truly believe in the place and I value them, and I absolutely value Great Lakes Honda City, the former Honda City of Liverpool, for those of you that knew it as that. So make sure you head out to Great Lakes Honda City today and let them know the DT sent you their way. It's time for the Top Dog of the Week. Top Dog of the Week, proudly presented by Canine Camp Dog Daycare. You can get more information on the daycare that I trust to bring your dog to. Lorraine, Chad, and the team are just wonderful. This is the thing. At the heart of this, the nucleus of Canine Camp Dog Daycare are people that care so very much about dogs and know that they are your family members, that how much they matter to you. They know that. And in knowing that, they're going to treat your dog with that respect and that love and that kindness and that compassion and that care. So shout out to Canine Camp Dog Daycare for being the people that they are and making sure that when our dog is away from home, just like, you drop off your kid to daycare, you want to make sure that they're in a safe space where they're cared for, respected, and valued. Well, our dogs are our family members too. And we want them to be taken care of and valued and respected. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare, that's the place to call. 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110. You can shoot them an email at k-9 kamp.com. That is k-9 kamp.com. And you can visit them. They're right off the highway and right down the road from Erie Boulevard and off of Bridge Street on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. That is 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse. Make sure that you reach out to Canine Camp Dog Daycare today. They also have a self-serve dog wash and a full store to pick up whatever you need for your dog. So make sure that you go to Canine Camp Dog Daycare, not just for the daycare, but for all the other services that they provide. My top dog of the week for this week. Man, I'm going to send it out to the FIFA World Cup into North America. I'm going to just, I believe that this can be a wonderful, wonderful event. It has been a wonderful event. and I say this all the time about the World Cup, about the Olympics, and things like them, is that if the world can come together and we can have all of these countries, including currently the United States and Iran, within the same tournament, if we can do this on the fields and the courts and the tracks and the pools of life, then why can we not find a way to do this in life in general? And I think sports is a great signifier that the world, whether we agree or not with one another, can come together toward a common goal, pun fully intended, with the goal of soccer, obviously scoring. If we can do it on the field, then we can do it in the boardroom. And may sports be an example, hence why a big reason why I do what I do and why the tagline of Wake Up Call is where sports meets life, is we have proven that we can be different religion, different backgrounds, different money, different nationality, different languages, different likes and dislikes, but we can all come together on a field and win a championship. So sports has already shown us that different doesn't mean bad, and different doesn't mean that we can't find a way together. And so as these teams are filled up with players that are not all the same, but they find a way to love each other and be there for each other, may we find a way to do that in this world in general. May we take things like the World Cup and see that 48 countries can converge in one area at the same time and have peace. May that be an example that every country on this planet can find a way to coexist and have peace. So I'm kind of prognosticating here that the World Cup is my top dog of the week because of what this can represent, because of what it can be, because to me it's so much more than soccer. And my hope is that it once again serves as an example of how we can come together, work together, and do great, positive, wonderful things as one universal community, and not just a nation versus another. Yeah, on the field, it's country versus country. But in the grand scheme of things, it's all of these countries coming together and playing a kid's sport, a child's sport that they all love, and watching it and rooting for it. So World Cup, you're my top dog of the week because you serve as an example that we should come together, and that beautiful things can happen when the world decides to do something unified. God bless to everybody in the World Cup, and God bless to everybody that didn't make the World Cup. May this be a fantastic event that shows us how great this world can be when we lock arms and we do it together. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back with our Commissioner Corner featuring the Big South Commissioner, Sharika Montgomery, right after this.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously, we've lived here our whole lives. So it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, SKIPTHECAKE, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios and value our time together here inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios. I hope you're having a wonderful morning this morning, staying safe and staying well here, wherever you may be, wherever you're watching, up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe. This is one of my favorite things that I've ever created here on the show, the Commissioner Corner, and the value of this to every conference that we have the opportunity of speaking with. And here today, we are celebrating the Big South and celebrating this logo that I fell in love with. I just absolutely, and Sharika already knows this here, but seeing that sun for the O and seeing the big within it and the South around it, it's one of the most clean logos, and I'm going to bother Sharika for I want some gear. I want to be able to come on the show next time, have it across my chest, rock a hat, but we're happy to be here in this edition of the Commissioner Corner, centering on the Big South Conference, and of course their commissioner, their leader, that being Sharika Montgomery. Sharika, how are you?
Good morning, Dan, and thank you so much for that warm welcome. And as soon as I saw you, that was the first thing I said. We owe Dan gifts. I will make sure that happens. You need swag.
Well, and I'll tell you this, we have our own merchandising with Wake Up Call as well. So I call it the jersey swap. So you have to let me know your size of what you need or what you're looking for. And we're going to make sure that we take care of you. So from one shining sun inside of your logo to one shining sun out of the coffee cup here, I'll make sure you're taken care of as well.
Thank you so much, Dan. I appreciate it.
Of course. So I got, and again, I remember last time we talked, just the backdrop and what you have here. I mean, I'm loving this. I mean, what do you come to work in the morning and see the logo and see the brightness and the colors, and does it just kind of give you a little oomph, a little pick me up? Because I'll tell you this, I'm all about the studio, and I like what you got rocking in there.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. You know, one of the things we really prioritize is just branding and messaging here in the Big South Conference. And one thing I can say we're very fortunate is to have an office that just really reminds that and illustrates us about that every single day. I mean, you can't see it, but around the wall, you have our student athletes. But when you talk about what it's like to walk into our conference office, you know, obviously it's an absolute honor. And it's just a reminder of why the student athlete experience is so important. But we have a hardwood basketball court in our foyer area. So I walk in every single day to the basketball court with the Big South logo on it. It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and it's funny that you say that, and it's just funny, in my opinion, how God works, because I've said in my studio before that I wanted to have a piece of court on my floor. So yeah. I think it's very, very unique there that we parallel each other with you mentioning the court. You said it's all about the student athletes and that you have them around you here and you celebrate them, and you know you get to see it every single day. The student and student athlete, Sharika, we don't hear enough about it on this show. I'm going to bang that drum forever because I don't want to lose it. What does the Big South do to take care of both pieces of the hyphen of student athlete?
I mean, you know, it's really embedded into who we are. When we think about our branding, our message, and, you know, even our mantra, it is where winners are made. And when we talk about where winners are made, it's not just about winning on the hard surfaces, on the respective playing surfaces. It's about winning in life. And at this point of the demographic that we serve from an age perspective, it's as much about the student, if not more, than it is about the athlete part. Obviously, their talents have given them an opportunity to experience the student athlete experience, but they're all here to become winners both on and off the playing surfaces, and most importantly, in the classrooms, in their community, and overall in life.
Yeah, and you mentioned the tagline and that, elevator pitch, so to speak, where winners are made. How
Mhm.
does that get embodied every day by the Big South?
Of course. I mean, it really goes into everything we do from leadership. I think about leadership, it's at all levels. Obviously, in the seat that I sit in, serving our non-member institutions, I am very fortunate to work with a conference that has been immensely engaged. That's going from our CEOs to our directors of athletics, senior women administrators, all throughout our governance structure. But that's key in how we lead and how we make decisions. Here in the conference office, I call them my teammates, and there's two questions that I ask them when we're starting any new project or we're doing something new. What's one thing that we can do different to elevate the student athlete experience? And what are we doing that we've never done before? We start with those two questions and allow them to guide us whether we're making decisions on a championship experience, broadcasting new championships, new opportunities, new partnerships, evaluating where we are in terms of particular sports, specifically basketball. And so it's really coming from an innovative leadership perspective.
I love that because I mean that's how I've lived my life. What can we do that we haven't done? What's
Mhm.
another way? What's a new partnership? What's a new idea? Something that we can, innovate, bring to life that we don't see out there that not only to do something special and something we haven't done before, but something that truly stands out overall to say like we're going to take this approach and we're going to bring this to life. I said it last night when I was talking to a bunch of kids that aspire to be in the broadcast journalism world. I said the best thing I can tell you is I'm never the one copying. I'm the one being copied, and
Ah,
I think there's a lot to be said about the energy that you brought because you and I when we spoke for the first time, you were just coming into the job.
that's correct.
So, when you meet with your teammates and you say, what can we do that we haven't done? How can we push ourselves and go into a totally new area? Do you have a thing or two since the day you walked into now that you really hang your hat on and say, this is something or a couple things that we didn't do that we do now that I'm so glad we implemented?
Of course, and I'm fortunate to say that there's several, but I think one that comes to mind first and foremost is integrating our student athletes into our governance structure. The Big South Conference, we've always been leaders, not just since my current time as commissioner, but even prior to that. Our student athletes have always had a voice and been embedded into our governance structure. But with the leadership that we had on the national level and the continued engagement, our student athletes are now embedded not only in a voice, but in a vote from a voting perspective. And so that's something that we're extremely proud of. And for us to be one, I think, of maybe 2 to 3 conferences, that's something that's truly, I think, remarkable. And our student athletes have just continued to lead at all levels in a remarkable way. I think the overall just elevation of the student athlete experience from a championship perspective. I think this upcoming year will be our third year at a neutral site, which is probably one of the longest times we've been at one place in quite some time in terms of a neutral location. And so that's one thing that I'm really proud of, just our membership and the leadership that we have there surrounding just the elevation of basketball. And I think that really leads to the next thing, the elevation of just our competitiveness overall. Obviously basketball is a huge, huge sport for us, and the growth and the continued level of excellence that we've been able to see on both sides of the ball, but specifically on the men's side here recently, but all throughout some additional sports, from baseball to softball, we've had one of our most competitive seasons here. So the continued elevation of just the competitive level is something also that we're extremely proud about.
Yeah, and I know when, you're looking at the basketball side of things, being basketball forward, right?
Mhm.
And because I know with the Ohio Valley Conference, the Big South is obviously in the football world, there's that connection there. But as a conference overall, you really leaning into basketball, and there are certain conferences in this country of the 30 plus in NCAA Division One athletics that do say like, yes, we have all of our sports and we love them all and we want to get them all out there, but there are the conferences that say we are football forward, and there's the ones that talk about being basketball forward. What can you say to being one of those conferences that leans heavily on basketball and allows that to be a torchbearer for the Big South?
Absolutely. That was one of the things coming in, probably my first 6 months. You go in and you begin listening. While I was familiar with the Big South Conference, being a former student athlete, being a former employee, I really wanted to re-engage and really understand the Big South Conference and where it currently was positioned today in the industry. And that was one of the areas that we really focused on was brand identity and having that central focus of who we were as a conference and being bold by that, being bold about that. And so, in the last 3 years, you've seen that in the sport of basketball, and specifically even we'll have our strategic positioning plan that be released here in almost 2.5 weeks. And I think you'll also be able to see the importance and the significance of basketball and how it really serves as an engine, a catalyst for who we are overall as a conference that really provides that visibility, that markability for all of our sports. And with having two football playing member institutions, they have great homes in the partnership that we have with the Ohio Valley Conference. But even with the changes on the national level, make no doubt about it, we are a basketball centric conference. And really, that's something we're proud of.
And Sharika, I mean, one of the things that's happened nationally recently is the expansion of the men's and women's Division I basketball tournaments to go from 68 to 76, adding 8 more spots, and then really mirroring each other in every way outside of the fact that the men will have those first round games at neutral sites, whereas the women will have them at the home of the higher seed, which is continuing on here. Do you have, when you look at this, do you think that one is better than the other when we talk about first round neutral site versus first round getting to host another game and have another event at your arena? Which one do you think kind of is the better bet, so to speak? Because I've been to Dayton, I've seen the first 4 there, but then I also, am a native of Syracuse, New York, and when the women's basketball team says, hey, we got another game and we're going to play it here. So bring me into kind of, as they've both expanded, they're in lockstep in pretty much everything outside of where we're playing these first few games. What are your thoughts on the differences between the two?
Of course. Well, I'll start with, I think it's an exciting time. I mean, you can see the momentum and the overall just appetite for more basketball, which I think is positive for the ecosystem of the sport itself. So having the expansion on both sides is something that we're really excited about as a conference, as well as me as a professional in the industry. When I think about the differences you spoke about on some of those first rounds, having an opportunity to experience both sides, I think is important and something to keep in mind. I've always been very intentional about, when we look at basketball, we look at it singular, but sometimes in decision making, there is an importance to make sure that those decisions are made based on the specific sports, men's versus women's basketball. I think about this past year with High Point University getting a number 12 seed and being out in Portland, across the country.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how awesome that experience was. Now, obviously, that wasn't a first round game, but just thinking about, to your point, that home court advantage, being out in Portland and to see the leadership and, to have the hundreds and the thousands of people there, that was a great experience. I think about 2 years ago, maybe 3 at this point, there was Presbyterian College who had an opportunity to win our championship, make it to those first rounds game, and it was down in South Carolina at the University of South Carolina. Also, once again, an equal experience, great experience that they were able to be close, to be in the area, to get those additional fans. And so I say that to say, I think that, the expansion overall on both sides of the ball is a positive. But I think when you look at the overall following and the history of both sides, we just made tweaks on the women's side with some of those things. I think we do have to look at them differently there, but also recognizing the unique experience and the growth that we've seen in both of those formats.
And with this
So I think
expansion,
it's better.
what'd you say?
I was saying, so I really don't think it's one maybe better than the other. I think it's more being able to see some of those changes and evaluate how positive they've been on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, overall, if we just look at what is similar about this going to 76 and, instead of having the 4 play-in games, now we have 12. So we have 24 teams in official first round. The thing that's difficult And navigating through this, I think, is important. Is the round of 64 is where most people believe the tournament starts. But in this expansion, at least what I'm getting from the tea leaves of the NCAA is we want you to believe that it begins in these first 12 games. So I'd love to go to that point of what you think about making this an official first round and not just a mini tournament to get to the actual round of 64.
Yeah, and as once again, here as a practitioner and obviously a representative of a basketball conference, I do feel any institution that has an opportunity, not just the Big South, to make it to the NCAA tournament, you've made it to the NCAA tournament. Now, what your resume has granted you in terms of now 1 through 76, that's based on the work in the body. So while I see your perspective, I think the NCAA did a great job in terms of laying this out, messaging this, marketing this. And these were discussions that were had at the commissioner's level, wanting to make sure that if expansion were to pass, it would be done in a way to ensure we didn't have this exact scenario that you're talking about. But that's where I think the intentional branding surrounding it, and also just, being a part of, even the WBIT. I know the level and the attention and the detail and the excitement around that tournament. So I know what it means to see student athletes and to see programs of all level really be excited to make what I'll call the second round, if you will, of the NCAA tournament. And so to now have that opportunity in the NCAA tournament, I think that that's still going to have the same level of excitement as it previously has 1 through 68.
And we know that of those 12 games, 6 of them will be amongst teams that have won their conference tournament, and
Absolutely.
6 will be at large.
Absolutely.
In the expansion of this, I'm always looking at the protection of the conferences and the valuation of the conferences. With 30 plus conferences around the country, it's very important to me that an automatic bid is an automatic bid. And I know that people might rest on different places with this, but I believe that if you win your conference tournament and you have an automatic bid, you should not be playing as an at-large team. And I believe the last teams to get in should be the ones fighting for their life to get in the first round of this. And I'm more of a proponent of these 12 games should have been against the 12 teams that the committee was trying to figure out should they be in over somebody else. I don't think the Big South should be playing in a game in the first round as a conference champion to try and prove that they should be in the round of 64 or any other conference should. I've always been a proponent of you should have your seed line by itself if you've won your conference tournament. Your thoughts on that as we step forward? Because obviously that's not going to be the case right now in the current format.
Of course. And, it's my understanding, and I was recently appointed to the Women's Basketball Selection Committee, but that doesn't start until September 1. That is something that's going to be evaluated. So I think we'll have more information, more details surrounding some of those specifics this summer following those committee meetings and as well as meeting during commissioners' meetings. So I do look forward to some of those additional discussions about what, if any, changes will take place to the selection process. I was asked this question very similarly when the announcement was first made, in terms of the Big South strategy and making sure that we have the best opportunity. And we are and have been under the mind of best team, best seed possible. So when I think about, our previous 2 years, this past year, High Point University received a 12 seed, as well as the previous year, I think it was a 13 seed. And my first year, it was a 15 seed in Longwood University. All 3 of those 2 same institutions, one differently, was based on their resume, based on what they have done at that point. And so that's where we spend a lot of time speaking about your team sheets and really how we show up and wanting to make sure we get our best team, the best seed possible. Us getting the best seed and the best team in, to your point, I would hope we would be considered in a position that wouldn't put us in any other seed line than the one that we're deserving of. And so I do hear and echo your sentiments, but I think those decisions have been yet to be made at this point.
And because one thing that I think we have to be careful of
Absolutely.
is we don't want to expand to retract. And what I mean by that is we're allowing 8 more teams in, but are we just saying to a couple conferences in the country, now almost your entire conference is going to play in here. So we're going to take only the conference champion, from 20 plus conferences, and then we're going to take 11 from this conference, 14 from that conference, and is this essentially becoming a tournament of just a couple? So in this expansion, like you said, the committee meetings that'll be coming up for you with the selection committee, and I saw that, and you got to it before me, so we will talk about it deeper in a second, but let me first say congratulations to you for being a part of it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Of course. So I don't want to expand number, but not opportunity. How do we protect the sanctity of the tournament? Because I believe in the last couple years, we've really, especially on the men's side, we've lost the madness of March, and it's become like kind of boring usual suspects because of the way things have kind of gone, where you got one conference with 9, one with 10, and it seems like you're looking at the at-large and you're saying half the country's at-large bids are coming out of 2 places. How do we expand and not lose opportunity? Because my hope is that 76 means maybe a conference like the Big South can have a great non-conference schedule, have a champion, and have somebody who took down a North Carolina or a Kansas, and maybe 2 of them get in as opposed to just 1.
Absolutely. No, I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head as you relate to the what I'll call balance of expansion and opportunity. And while the decision's just being made now, the discussion surrounding opportunity probably started 3 to 5 years ago. Doing some work on the transformation committee at that point, and if my numbers are not completely off, they're pretty close. Prior to the tournament expanding, that was only 18% of the Division I membership that actually participated in what some would say arguably one of the biggest brands, top brands of the NCAA. So that's 18% of its membership.
Yeah.
With the expansion to 76, now it's 21%. That's still relatively pretty low when we talk about, to your point, the opportunities. And when you speak about some of the Cinderella stories being left and things of that nature, I think there's a myriad of things that really go into that. I don't know if it's just one. And, one of them is obviously the change in landscape post-House settlement, from obviously revenue opportunities and being able to recruit and offer opportunities that will attract the top talent. So I do think that that's, definitely one of many that we have to take into a consideration there, in addition to, as we speak about the already and ongoing discussions that were being had about expansion. One of them being centered on, I know from the discussions I was in, was about opportunity. So it's a balance from that perspective, but I do think that there are a myriad of things that have really went into play of some of the realities that we have now, post-House settlement.
The House settlement, the Ray settlement, NIL, the transfer portal, realignment, executive order trying to give some type of a blueprint that the NCAA doesn't have to adopt, but maybe could take as a suggestion toward something. Sharika, you're the commissioner overseeing your office and overseeing your membership and your affiliated members. You're also on the selection committee and you've been a part of other pieces. On top of all of that, you're trying to deal with a collegiate climate that looks nothing like it looked when you played and when other people played. So how do you, from a commissioner's leadership seat, begin to tackle all of the settlements going on, those effects on conferences, including yours, as well as NIL and the transfer portal and executive order? I mean, this is, and now what's going to happen with the 5 and 5? There's a million and one things that you deal with on a daily basis within your conference. And then the NCAA was like, hey, guess what? Now you're going to deal with the national things that we can't really get the reins on. So how do you tackle the day-to-day knowing that the wind seems to change almost immediately?
Yes, I think you really explained that well in terms of the reality of being a commissioner at any level. As we sit here today in 2026, I think it's really going back to, 3 leadership principles that now wrapping up 3 years that were very intentional then, they're very intentional now. And that's advocacy, education, and consensus building. And I try to bring that into my leadership in every discussion that we're speaking about, whether it is activity on Capitol Hill from a congressional engagement, the expansion of the NCAA basketball tournament, the realities of being able to manage the myriad of settlements that we're dealing with, to also making sure that we're active participants in all of those discussions. And so, It's the advocacy, it's the education, as well as consensus building. And just to give you a few examples of those, it's making sure our membership is first and foremost educated, that they're informed, that they know what's going on from a national level. And so that's something that I take pride in, whether it's coming from meetings with our colleagues at the NCAA, commissioners, engaging with our lobbyists on Capitol Hill. I want to make sure that the Big South Conference is informed and educated on these myriad of things that are going on, so they're able to now make informed decisions, not only on a conference level and the things that we're discussing in our governance structure, but specifically decision makings that are happening on campus. The advocacy piece. We spend time with our lobbyists. We spend time making sure that we have representation in the NCAA governance structure to make sure our voice, to make sure our perspective is heard. And so that's one that I'm very fortunate. We share that responsibility of advocacy. And then probably the hardest one is consensus building. But I think once you've had an opportunity to be informed, to be educated, to make sure you know what's going on in any decision making, as I often say, decision making is not all agreeing, but it's being a part of the process to the solution and understanding how we got there. That's really and truly probably the three things that I continue to keep in mind when I'm having any discussion at any level about any important decision making when it comes to my leadership as a commissioner today.
Yeah, well, I can appreciate that advocacy, education, and consensus building, like you said. This, and you made a point just now that made me think about something. When people say the end justifies the means, right? Let's cut corners. Let's do whatever we can. Let's lie, cheat, and steal as long as we can get to the result that we want.
Mm-hmm.
Bring me into the danger zone that we've kind of been in with NIL and the transfer portal and tampering and all these things that have been happening, that if we're living in a collegiate climate of the end justifies any means, just what that's essentially done over the last few years.
Yeah. When I look at the evolution of intercollegiate athletics, and we can go down the laundry list, as you indicated, NIL, transfers, all the new opportunities post-house settlement. I think it's about being able to see the opportunities themselves that have been provided. That's a positive. That's a new benefit to the student athletes.
Yeah.
The lack of structure and guardrails surrounding those new opportunities, I think, has created the chaos that we now live in that will give off sentiments of there being no means to the end, or to the ends. I was sharing with someone, I think yesterday during a meeting, and we were talking about roster sizes, for example, and they were speaking about, higher level institutions being able to provide more. And, I gave an example of, when you think about this, is really a discussion about equivalencies versus headcount. And I'll never stand on a podium and say that it's not a positive that a baseball student athlete can now get a full scholarship, whereas previously it was 11.7 over 45 young men. And so I think really being able to look at the change itself and the benefits surrounding it, but then being able to evaluate the problems that we're seeing because of the lack of governance and the opportunities of enforcements and rules surrounding them.
So are we in a place where you're a proponent of Congress involving themselves? And I do want to make a point of this too. Senators Ted Cruz and Maria Cantwell, obviously they're trying to work on protecting collegiate athletics that save college sports. And the note that went out here within the last couple days is that you will join a Senate roundtable discussion on Capitol Hill coming up here to discuss the Protect College Sports Act and the current state of collegiate athletics. We have seen conferences come out and say, we're working with these senators, we like what they're doing. We've seen conferences reading between the lines say, I don't know if this is it. So not every conference is really feeling the Protect College Sports Act the way that it is, but you have an opportunity now to go to Capitol Hill and be a part of this. 1, how did the opportunity come about? 2, congratulations. And 3, what are you hoping to achieve?
Of course. Well, thank you. I'll start there. And I actually had an opportunity to do that this past Wednesday.
Yeah.
It was a roundtable, so it took place on June, I think that was the 10th, maybe. This opportunity, yes, this opportunity came about really and truly going back to what I spoke about previously, the advocacy, making sure that the Big South Conference, that we are able to have our voices and our perspectives heard on these issues that may differ from other conferences, that will differ from other conferences. And that's okay. But to make sure that our membership is educated about how these various bills will impact us, that's something that, we have always made a priority to do. And so in working with our lobbyists, Washington Navigators, and making sure that our perspectives and voices have been heard, we've always lended our support to be a part of the solution with the discussions happening on Capitol Hill. And so I was able to be contacted by Senator Cruz as well as Senator Cantwell's office, and offered the opportunity and welcomed the opportunity to be a part of the discussion roundtable that took place this past Wednesday. With that discussion, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, not every commissioner gets that opportunity. So what do you feel came about to provide that you got to have your voice specifically heard? I don't want you to lose the point that you were making, but I want to give credit to the fact that, being selected to be a part of this is obviously a huge honor and a privilege in and of itself. So how do you feel like that came about, that you're a name that was a part of that list?
Of course. Well, one, all of the names that were on that list were pretty spectacular, and just having an opportunity to be with them. We had presidential leadership from Texas Southern, head women's basketball coach from Syracuse University, two head football coaches from the University of Memphis and Middle Tennessee State, and most importantly, two phenomenal student athletes from the University of Akron as well as Boston University. And so I was honored and humbled to be a part of that great discussion. But I think more than anything, what we all shared in that room was a love for intercollegiate athletics and an appreciation for the experience of intercollegiate athletics, and wanting to show up and be a part of the solution as we continue to engage with Congress. And so I was definitely honored from that perspective. And once again, having an opportunity to advocate for the Big South Conference and represent our voices, our perspective, and why this change and why congressional engagement is so important to ensure continued opportunities across all levels, but specifically the Big South Conference.
And you were going to go into kind of that experience a little bit deeper. I'd love to get your thoughts on maybe what you got from it, the response that you received from Capitol Hill, being a part of this past week.
Of course. Well, I think just first and foremost, the appreciation for the time, the work, and the effort that's been placed into just the protection. I know that's the name of the bill, but the protection of college athletics, coming from Senators Ted Cruz, Maria Cantwell, as well as Senator Coons and Senator Smits. So really just being able to be appreciative of that work, but in being able to hear directly from them, you can tell once again the consensus is the same. While there may be many things that we will not agree or find compromise on, there is a love and appreciation for college athletics, and to ensure that college athletics is here for generations to come. There is a level of stability. There is a level of certainty that is needed. And, this bill reflects a serious as well as a thoughtful attempt to bring that stability and predictability to what we all know has just become a very increasingly chaotic athletics landscape. And so that was first and foremost what I took away from the discussion. What I appreciated was being able to have an opportunity to offer perspective on the bill itself, and obviously what it provides in terms of sustainability as well as stability to college athletics, while also, I think, balancing the protection of student athletes without crossing that line of restrictions of student athletes. I mean, when you see some of the things in there in terms of ensuring student athletes protections, health, wellness, academics, I think all of those things are positive. But at the same time, protections against nefarious activity, when it comes to agents and some things that the NCAA as a governing body cannot achieve. That's an example of what I mean, a fine line of protection and restriction. And obviously, there are some things that will continue to be worked through. I know we'll be meeting as a group of commissioners as well as hearing from the NCAA in the coming weeks. And I look forward to being able to engage with my colleagues about how some of these things landed on their campuses, landed on their respective desks. But overall, I think that the Protecting College Sports Act makes significant progress in addressing several of the major areas of concerns of intercollegiate athletics.
And I appreciate that. I mean, I think, I mean, we have to do something. I wrote an article years ago that said that essentially about all of these things, even before the settlements, and ended it with, if we do not put a fence around the barn, we will be chasing the horses every night.
Yeah.
Opportunity is great, as you stated, but opportunity without parameters, rules, and regulations is the wild, wild west. It is chaotic. And this is what we have to do now, is to try and figure out how to not take the opportunity that's been given to the student athletes, but to provide parameters of protecting the academic side of things. Like you said, nefarious activity with agents. A lot of this stuff was put into the executive order, and I spent time a few weeks ago reading the entire executive order on my show, which I think took me 45 minutes to read it. So, but the essence of it, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, is 5 and 5, which 19 years old or when you graduate high school is going to start off your clock, so to speak. You're not going to have a redshirt year, but there will be 3 things that can help you not lose a year of eligibility if you have to step away for maternity leave, for religious vocation, or for the military. And 5 and 5 essentially does something that student athletes never had by and large, which is give you 5 years to play as opposed to 4 years to play. So you gain a year of eligibility that you can play out from 19 or from when you graduate high school. That's 1. 2, so that helps with hopefully not having these student athletes wanting to play for 6 years, 9 years, 11 years, and so on and so forth. Then we have the portal bonding the old with the new. The old of, if you transfer, you sit out a year. The new with, you can transfer a million times and never sit out. So they say, first year, play immediately when you transfer. Every year after that, you have to sit out a year. So it marries the old and the new. Plus, there's something in there to protect women's athletics and Olympic sports, which is extremely crucial to me because I began my career covering women's athletics in 2003 when I was told they were boring, a waste of time, and I was questioned as to why I would do it. When I was covering women's athletics in November of 2003 to now, most of my career people were like, why would you do that? Nowadays, I wonder if some people are doing it just because they don't want someone to write on social media about them. But I was always a proponent of, why would I treat anybody different based on gender? I'm a basketball player. I grew up playing ball. To me, ball is ball. That's how my career started. So, and the women's basketball team at my university was better than the men's team. So I'm going to cover the men's team, but I'm not going to cover the women's team that has the potential to go to the playoffs, but the men's team is nowhere close to it. It just seemed wrong. And the friendships that I made back then, some of those women are coaches now. And now they're on the show full circle. And they said, if you didn't do it, nobody would have. So to me, in the protecting of women's athletics and Olympic sports, that to me is crucial. So you have the 5 and 5, the transfer portal trying to create an opportunity where people are not leaving every year. You protect women's athletics and Olympic sports. You look at what's going on with agencies. All of these pieces were put into this. In the Protect College Sports Act, do you think that they mirrored some of the things from the executive order and just kind of what you saw from that respect? And then was there an addition of anything else?
Of course. Yeah, I won't say that it was definitely or directly mirrored from the executive order, but I will say that there are common themes and areas that have been opined on. So, going through some of the areas that you just spoke about, age-based eligibility, and we can talk about the current NCAA proposal, but there was sections on the age-based eligibility, as well as restoring some allowances when it came to the transfer traffic, as well as there was a recommendation to help support and protect women's sports as well as Olympic sports. So all 3 of those areas, as well as agents, those were covered as well. I think they went into a little bit more detail. We talked about some of the additions that maybe you didn't cover was being able to enshrine into federal law the student athlete protections when it comes to healthcare and academics and things of that nature. Also, the agency. discussion, not only about the registry requirement of agents, but also some of the percentages and the qualifications and the requirements and the certifications of agents. And I see that as a student athlete benefit because student athletes know that they're getting that appropriate information. So several of those things that you spoke about were included in the actual act itself, but definitely went into some additional areas as it relates to the NCAA being able to make and enforce rules.
Is it of concern to you that it seems like, yes, they're still working on the Protect College Sports Act, but it seems like there's a lot of things in it that you like, and you've spoken about the senators and working with them and being heard and being a part of this process, and that you do think there needs to be congressional aid in protecting things that the NCAA maybe has tried to enforce over the years, but simply cannot. So is it of concern that the conferences that make the most money nationally are the ones that are maybe not leaning on the side of, yeah, let's do this, or let's do it the way that it looks right now? Is it a concern that money will talk more than the protection of collegiate athletics?
Yeah, I don't see it as a concern for me to date. And I say that from a perspective as, as leaders, we all have to make sure, as I go back to what I spoke about, we all educate, advocate, and consensus build with all of our member institutions, regardless of the name of your conference. And so I don't see that as a concern. I see that as respective conferences doing their due diligence to ensure that they do have membership buy-in, and they are reviewing the proposed changes in the proposed legislative bill in a way that they understand how this will land on their campus, their member institutions that may be different from the Big South Conference. And I think it's also important, when we talk about the NCAA, and as a former NCAA staff member, sometimes the NCAA is looked at as the office in Indianapolis. The NCAA is, 3 divisions, over 500,000 student athletes. I think it's over, I think maybe 1,200 member institutions. And so even thinking about it that from that perspective, the NCAA is all 3 divisions. It's all of us, just as I'm making decisions on behalf of my conference. So I won't say it's a concern, but I think it does illustrate the diverse makeup of just the Division One conferences themselves, but also when you talk about the NCAA, we're talking about protecting the interests of not only Divisions One, but Divisions Two and Three, and the opportunities for over 500,000 student athletes. And so I think you have to take all of those things into considerations, but I won't say it's a concern at this point. I think they're doing their due diligence just as any member institution and or leader would at their conference.
If football was to separate itself in Division One athletics at the FBS level, like you said, you have 2 member institutions that work with the Ohio Valley Conference, but you are a basketball forward conference. What does the landscape of collegiate athletics look like to you if football says, we're going to go Super League, maybe we're going to take 60 institutions, we're going to do our own thing outside of the NCAA? How does that ripple effect to the Big South, in your opinion, if that were to happen?
Yeah, as that question's asked, I really think about it to where when you talk about football itself, just the one sport of football. I mean, we already have a semblance of that with the CFP. And obviously, the Big South is not affiliated, but I have great affinity for the leadership of the CFP and sometime engage at different commissioners' meetings. We already have a semblance of that itself, specifically for, I'll say, specific arms of the operations of football, the championship. And so I don't think that itself will have a direct impact on intercollegiate athletics. I think the bigger discussion you hear about is the institutions themselves. And that's not just 4 conferences, that's FBS holistically. So that's 4 conferences and 6 additional conferences. I think that would have the larger impact on the Big South Conference, on the association itself. But the overall management of FBS as a subdivision, I think we see some semblances of that now with the CFP. And it goes back to where we are right now. Things are evolving. And so I always like to make sure that before I denounce a solution or denounce an idea, we have an opportunity to really think through it and work and see if maybe that is a better one. But that's something, I'll be frank, I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about.
Sharika Montgomery here with us. The Big South in the spotlight, which makes total sense because that O that you see with the big and that bright sun that I always see, the spotlight on the Big South makes perfect sense. Sharika, being here on the show with you years ago when you were stepping into this role, a privilege, and even more of a privilege now, getting to know you over time. By the way, folks, if you don't know this, there's a way that you can write an email or a message to show people that you're not just answering, but you value the person on the other end. And I will say that you always make me feel valued and appreciated. And I think that that's one of the best parts of leadership is not only if you value people, but if you mean it and taking the time to write the way that you write. So let me just say about something in the background. I value the fact that you make yourself available, you take the time, and you write in such a way to let somebody know this is not just a business transaction. I actually appreciate the bond and the connection. So I want to thank you for that.
Well, that is probably the best compliment that you can absolutely receive. So, Dan, I thank you for that. I also thank you for just the way you continue to storytell so many different perspectives, not only from my seat as a commissioner, but of experiences such as the Big South Conference. So, thank you so much for your leadership and all that you do. And I look forward to our jersey swap.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to do this before I let you go, though, because I got to keep my word to this. So give me a couple more minutes if you can, because I know you got a busy schedule. But I do want to speak about what you're most excited about when it comes to the women's basketball selection committee, being a part of this committee. And this is huge. This is a monument. So few people get to say they get to do something like this. So just your thoughts about sitting in that room, which people do not know. You're not sitting in that room for one day, a couple days before things happen, or the day of the selection. This is a process. So just what you're looking forward to.
Well, first and foremost, it's such an honor and a privilege being a former women's basketball student athlete and having an opportunity to not only work in intercollegiate athletics, but to have this opportunity in women's basketball, full circle moment, absolute privilege. And I'm so excited about it. This past year, I was the vice chair of the Women's Basketball Invitational Tournament, the WBIT. And so even that opportunity really opened my eyes to just, to your point, the commitment, the dedication that goes into it, but also just the momentum and the growth surrounding the game of women's basketball. I spent a lot of times with our teams, but I had 5 other conferences that I was watching religiously to really see women's basketball and spend time in it. That was exciting. And I look forward to being able to carry those opportunities, those experiences into the Women's Basketball Committee. Obviously, the individuals that serve on that committee already, so many highly respected, some former women's basketball student athletes, but administrators and leaders. So looking forward to just being alongside that level of leadership, but also to your point you made earlier, it's an exciting time with the expansion. And so the discussions that will be held surrounding what, if any, changes, the continued growth of women's basketball, it's a lot of time spent on the tournament itself, but also the ecosystem of the sport of women's basketball. And so just really look forward to being a part of those discussions, continuing to elevate the brand of college women's basketball, but also to serve the Division I membership in this way.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited about this for you and looking forward to it. So membership, right before rapid fire, where you get to put me on the hot seat. Let's take a look at membership here. Charleston Southern, Gardner-Webb, High Point, Longwood, as well as Presbyterian, Radford, UNC Asheville, USC, Upstate, Winthrop, when we're speaking of the full membership of the Big South. The identity moving forward, what can we say about the brand of the Big South, who you are, and how that's shown in your membership?
Words. When I think about the Big South, it goes back to, as I spoke about earlier, it's where winners are made. And we take that into everything that we do, not only our student athletes winning on and off the field, but also the experience we as a conference provide to our member institutions. And so from a conference office perspective, there has been an intentional effort on elevating the brand of the Big South Conference, really telling that message in a very bold fashion. Obviously, with the partnership we have with ESPN, continuing to expand on our opportunities for visibility and brand recognition, and that partnership has a lot to do with that. But then overall, allowing our student athletes to tell that message, to tell that story and the experiences that they're having. And so that's something that I would say has been a focus from a conference perspective and being able to do that. But when you talk about that vision and who we are, we've spent the last year really creating the phase one of what we're considering our conference positioning plan. And we're very intentional with that. We don't want a strategic plan that's just going to tell who we are. We put it on the shelf. A positioning is where we are today and where we want to be in 1 to 3 years. And we evaluate that. I mean, everything's changing so much. And so I'm really excited about that being released here shortly. But I think that that's going to yet again continue to solidify and clarify who we are as a conference. And that is a conference where, we're really fueled by our conference success in basketball, and it fuels our overall success in all of our sports.
Well, I love that, and I look forward to it, and I have some thoughts. You and I will be in touch off the air as well. So let's go to rapid fire. No commissioner on any other show that I know of gets to ask the questions. So Sharika, you get to put me on the hot seat, and I'll give you a couple myself, but what's your question for me?
If you had one solution for intercollegiate athletics in the current state of it, what would it be today? One piece of advice.
Man, I would say remember why we have college. Remember that when you're a kid and you're growing up, mom and dad, guardian, somebody's taking care of you. Then you're in the real world and you're taking care of yourself. College is the bridge where mom and dad aren't taking care of you fully, but you're also not fully on your own. And without the bridge of the transition, you're taking a baby, growing it up a little bit, and then throwing it into the ocean before it can swim. College is where you learn how to swim. So if we continue to make it all about the money and all about transferring and all about nothing to do with education and just making sure that I get mine and I get mine and I get mine, if this is the world that we're living in, we are going to take kids that are being taken care of. We're going to throw them into a world where they need to take care of themselves, but they will not be able to have the time to develop the tools in order to transition from the one being taken care of to the one taking care of others. And I think that that is the thing we must key in on the most, is if college is a bridge and we blow it up, what are we going to do to society?
The significance of the human development aspect of it. I would echo those sentiments that was spoken about last week.
Thank you. And I appreciate the fact that that's something that is being spoken about out there by, Congress, by people like yourself, that this is important to protect college sports. I have to ask you this because it's my hometown and I know her. Not only were you there on Capitol Hill, but you got to spend some time with Felicia Leggett-Jack, the head coach of the Syracuse Orange women's basketball program. I got to tell her this past season in the tunnel how much I appreciate her, how she goes about what she does, and just the human being and the energy that she gives off. What was it like for you to interact with Felicia, and just what you can say about being there with her on Capitol Hill?
I had to use one word. I would just say a beacon. Just a beacon of light, a beacon of influence, and just such a beacon of great representation of the game of women's basketball, but also going back to someone that has really invested their career into the bridge or into the human development of young women and using the sport of women's basketball as a tool. It was an absolute honor to be able to meet her in person. That was the first time, as I shared with her, no introductions needed. I followed her success, not only here most recently at Syracuse, but even back at the University of Buffalo. And so it was an absolute pleasure, absolute honor to serve alongside her during that roundtable discussion. And as always, I'm someone I like to walk in and see what I can take away. I was able to take away great nuggets of just wisdom and just reminders from her. So obviously, you know her well, so you know the amazing human being, but I would just say a beacon, and it was an absolute honor to meet her.
Love that. Well, you've answered all my questions very well throughout the conversation here. Just had a very candid, open conversation as we've had before. So I'm going to let you have the last two. I will not put you on the hot seat. You get to put me on the hot seat for two. Sharika, what do you got?
What's the last fun vacation you had? We talked about that previously.
Yeah, well,
Most memorable.
since the last time we spoke, an 11-year promise that my dad and I made to each other was fulfilled, and we went to Italy. And I broadcasted live my show from Italy, which is insane, from Rome, from Capri, and there is a Tortora, Italy. So I did a video of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora coming to you from Tortora, which was like being in this crazy dream. And I just, everything about Italy, about the moment, about being there with my dad, about going back to where my family grew up. And the first mountain that I've ever climbed from the bottom to the top just so happened to be to the Stations of the Cross, following Jesus's path to the cross. And while I was going up this mountain, it was in the town where my dad's family grew up in Montoloni, just outside of Naples, climbing and going on Jesus's path. And every time I prayed to God and said, give me the energy, I would get a burst to go up this mountain. I don't know how he did it with a cross. I don't know how he did it being beaten and having things thrown at him and whipped, because I was just carrying a bag up this mountain myself. And I will tell you, when I got to the top, it was silent. There was only a few people and a dog, and it really made you feel like, is this heaven? So few get here. Is this what it's like? And the higher you went, the more narrow the path got, and narrow is the path to heaven. And as I was going up the mountain, butterflies would come guide my path. They would dance in front of me, lead me. They would leave, and then another would come in its path. And as it got more confusing, it started with steps, and then it became rock, and then grass growing over the rock. And at certain points you thought, is this the right path? And the butterfly would literally come and show me, yes, it is. And I got to the top of the mountain. I prayed, and I realized that one of the things that I've been saying to myself for years to take care of myself and my wellness, he was planning this mountain trip the entire time. And I broke down and I cried. And then the butterflies led me down the mountain like they led me up it. And I know without doubt in my life that God is a part of every step you take. And what do they say? That a man will make his plans, but God will guide his steps. And I know he's got my back, and I know he has all of us. And I owe to him everything I promised on the top of that mountain.
Oh, wow, that sounds like an absolutely amazing and beautiful trip. And I really and truly do appreciate you sharing that with me. Unfortunately, I do have 11:15, so I may not be able to get my last question in, but I once again can't thank you enough for just taking the time to speak with me and allowing me to once again share more of the Big South Conference, who we are, our story, and all the great things I feel we have going on here.
Absolutely. Well, I know you have a busy schedule. Like you said, I'm grateful for the time we get to spend, and you and I will be in touch off the air for our jersey swap, and I'll be talking with you soon. But God bless to you in the Big South, and take care.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Dan. Thank you.
Sharika. See you. That coming once again from Sharika Montgomery here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. And, one of the people that you never know how to say see you later to, because the conversation goes to so many places and is engaging. And I found a warm, welcoming energy from Sharika when she took the job as the Big South Commissioner a few years back. And it doesn't surprise me that comfort and connection and how fast the time goes by, that we spent about an hour here talking with one another. But I feel like the conversation could have expanded to so many different areas. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of the work that she's getting to do right now, and the opportunity that she has, not just with the Big South, but to be on Capitol Hill and to be on committees that are making national decisions and have a just holistic look at collegiate athletics, I think speaks volumes to her leadership. And I know she'll take these opportunities and make the most of them. So with that being said, we will take a step aside here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. And inside these Great Lakes Honda City studios, you will hear from our incredible partners, and then we'll wrap things up and get you set for the weekend right after this. Stay with us.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, Food Truck Battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the State Fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, we keep it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rockney Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership with the school and get this rolling.
Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food in our pizza pub. That was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're gonna have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on weck pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
Hi, this is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have at any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
Here's a message from Renee from Bryan's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York. Open Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and Sundays for brunch.
It's a lot like the way that my mom and dad ran their restaurant. We have put in place a lot of people that are family to us, very similar to how my dad hired people that were family to him. And then the tradition I'm carrying on is a lot of the items that are on our menu are my dad's. And he taught our chefs how to recreate his dishes. So I think that Tommy McNerney, who our executive chef is, to him it is an art. And I think that when he does create a dish, it's not just about making the food taste delicious, which is definitely our priority, but it's an art to him, and it's almost like his canvas on a plate where he just wants the colors to look great, and people love it because he takes pride in that. And Brian and I appreciate that. We want it to obviously look good and taste good. I will tell you, when we opened up, it was 6 weeks before COVID. And what was amazing was the community, our friends and family stepped up, and everybody did takeout. Everybody supported us. Our hearts were just so filled. So to Brian and I, obviously our friends come all the time, and we just have repeat customers in Jamesville, and I think people going to our previous restaurant in Green Lakes are making the trip to come to Brian's Landing to support us. And I mean, I think we have great food and a great atmosphere. So it's very, very important to us.
Head to Brian's Landing, located on 6523 East Seneca Turnpike in Jamesville, New York, where memories have become recipes that are now meals to share with you. Tuesdays and Wednesdays for dinner, Thursday through Saturday for lunch and dinner, and on Sundays for brunch. And be sure to come out for live music Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry-loving friend. Right, Lily? In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Head over to GG Cards and Breaks today on the corner of, and you can find them right there on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, right off of Teal Ave, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5. And there, I mean, it's just an amazing place. Sports cards, all the cards that they have, be it sports cards, Disney Lorcana, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon. It's an amazing experience. You get to be a big kid, but more than anything else, it's the community, it's the people, led by Josh Gideon and Anthony Campbell. They're just fantastic human beings. They care, they have great knowledge and wisdom, and they value everybody that comes through the door. There's just something about going to a place that, I mean, Josh and Anthony, whatever they would go and venture out and do, you'd want to be a part of it because there's a level of care that goes to the nth degree, the work that's done behind the scenes to just make sure that the experience is great for everybody that comes into GG Cards and Breaks. I mean, it's remarkable how much they do, how much they care, and they love the sports card and trading card world themselves. So to dive right into it with people that know what they're talking about and value it so much, I mean, who better to give to, and to go and see than those that love their industry and partake in their industry. So I have so many great things to say about Josh and Anthony. The quality of product, the consistency of product, the variety of product, but more than anything else, the way they treat people and the community that they've helped to create in Central and Upstate New York is really remarkable. So shout out to GG Cards and Breaks. It starts with a sports card or a trading card. It ends with a friend. And we'll see you at 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York, Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and on Sundays from 10 to 5. Big time shout out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. You can go and visit them today, so make sure you make your way out to Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, seeing Megan Sorber and her team in the community. They're almost a year old. Hard to believe that a year's gone by like that. I mean, in a way, it feels like they've been here longer than that. In another way, you're like, wow, it's almost been a year. But Megan Sorber and her team at the giant brick building that you cannot miss, massive parking lot, double drive-through, plenty of space inside to dine in. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt is not only bringing you your favorite sandwiches and your nuggets, as well as the shakes you love and so much more, but they're also bringing new and wonderful things that can become a favorite for you, like the pineapple dragon fruit drink that they have on site, on location at Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. So head over there today to try their new flavors and their new treats, as well as the things that you already love Chick-fil-A for, and beyond everything else, I love them for their guest service. So, and that they're unapologetic about supporting faith and God and putting that out there into the world. So go and see Chick-fil-A today on the corner of Bridge Street and Erie Boulevard. Chick-fil-A in DeWitt. Megan Sorber and her team cannot wait to see you. Come through the drive-thru, come inside, or order off the app. We'll see you there soon. With that being said, I want to thank you all for being with us up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT and on WakeUpCallDT.mixlr.com. Thank you for connecting with the show. Also on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. And a big time shout out and thanks to all of our wonderful partners in Central and Upstate New York. Make sure to support those that support us here on the show. Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world, kettle corn, popcorn, their lemonades, their cotton candy, their chocolate dip, their freeze-dried candy. Ma and Pa's just truly is the amusement park for your taste buds. Myers Creek, the Baked Potato Express, Pizza Man, Chick-fil-A, Cicero, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Brian's Landing, Gray's Craze at Clay, New York. We just aired a couple new videos with Gray's Craze, and we got another one coming out for Father's Day, so look out on our social media for the place you need to go for Father's Day, which is Gray's Craze at Clay, New York, Game Point Sports Complex, Avicoli's, as well as Chick-fil-A in DeWitt, Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Willow Rock Brewing Company, and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, and the Mother's Cupboard fantastic experience that I get to have every time I go into Mother's Cupboard. Truly love Pete and Amy and the whole team there. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Binghamton University Bearcats. It is Bearcat time every Tuesday on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Find your student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni right here on Wake Up Call as we tell the story of Binghamton University, unlike anywhere else that you'll find the stories being told. We appreciate all the relationships we've built, and I want to, of course, thank Eugene Marshall, who saw my vision over 2 years ago and parallels me in a lot of ways of things that we care about and that matter to us and our faith in God. So I want to thank Gene, and I also want to thank the sports information staff, the coaches, the student athletes, the families, and of course, the presidents that I've gotten to meet, the former president, the current president, and overall just the greater Bearcat community. You can find all of our content by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the exclusive partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank the Baked Potato Express for the annoying moment of the week. Go and see them in the community at all these wonderful food truck events in Central and Upstate New York. And, of course, many thanks to Chick-fil-A in Cicero. Go and see them on 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, New York, right by CNS High School. And thank you to Jimmer Sikowski for all of his leadership and to his incredible team. Shout out to Betty and the whole Sikowski family. Big time thanks to Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Lorraine, and all the amazing love and passion she has for what she does, and Chad and the whole team at Canine Camp Dog Daycare. My top dog of the week, honoring the World Cup and what this can be as an example for how we can work together as an entire world and not be so divided. And many thanks to Sharika Montgomery for the newest edition of the Commissioner Corner, this time focusing on the Big South's leadership coming from Sharika and giving a spotlight to the Big South, which I'm happy to do and really, truly appreciate not only the Big South, but also Sharika and everything she's done, her team, and all of the membership institutions. With that being said, find us on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. And as we always say here on the show, God bless, no stress, do your best. We'll talk soon. Stay close to our social media. Plenty of stuff coming up. And remember, your value never lies in somebody else's valuing of you. Love yourself. Know that God loves you. And if you ever need somebody to remind you, I'm here. God bless.